Okay, I think I'm actually properly live. Hopefully. Everything's working and present and correct, and we are live for, wait, what did I say? Round 12? Round 12 of Tier 2. Season 13 of Revolution. How are you doing, Zentar? Welcome on in. I really like the Hungaro ring. Well, I was about to say I don't know if it makes for the best racing, but, you know, it's quite hard to get DRS trains here. I mean, I'll tell you that much. It's difficult. So maybe that will keep things pretty interesting. Hey, Blitz, how you doing? Blitz, welcome on in on the YouTube. I'm sorry in advance if I miss your YouTube chats. It's in a less easy position to read on the screen than the Twitch ones, but you're very welcome, Blitz. It's great to see you. What am I doing? I'm trying to show you the standings. I'm trying desperately to show you the standings while, you know, cars are going around the track. So, jeez. So, check this out. All good, just jumping in? Yeah. Here are your Drivers' Championship standings currently. Snipes absolutely running away. Well, running away with it. I mean, he's over a race win in front of Testwell, right? He's over 25 points in front, which is pretty significant, but things can still change. What a fantastic season it's been for VCarb, though. They are absolutely running away with the Constructors' Championship, as you'll be able to tell from this little table, which shows they're on well over 240 points. 4 drivers have so far broken the 100-point barrier, though. You can see Jeff there moved up to 4th after last week. Tolu, unfortunately, doesn't make the 100 club just yet, sitting on 99, but it's pretty close. Around the top of the table. As I say, Snipes looks perhaps a little bit cut above. Might be fair to say. I think it's fair to say that on Snipes' behalf. Right, let's turn some of this stuff on, because people are actually on laps already. So we need to see what's happening with that. And I think Tarrier. Whoa! What a time to flick the camera. Okie dokie, everybody. Well, unfortunate for Tarrier, that's going to be a lap abandoned and getting out of the way of some of the cars in front. Right, who's actually approaching? Arbon's on an outlap. There's, is that like a, what the hell is that? A Williams? It is Igor, right? Igor's probably going to set the first lap of the session. So let's see what this is. Looks very, very grey in the skies over Hungary tonight. You're putting a 5er on Testwell. Well, there is no Snipes tonight. Oh, there is. I'm lying. Ignore everything I'm saying. Right then, Igor comes over the line. I didn't even set the first lap time, but he is now sitting provisionally on pole position with a 1:16.253, edging out Agbala Jobs, who will be incredibly disappointed that the ever-vigilant commentator Kelston missed his first lap of the night. Agbala Jobs is now down at the bottom of the standings in 4th because Soul Demon and Shelby have gone ahead, who are getting out of the way, I should say, of cars setting laps behind. Shelby currently on pole with a 1:15.5. I mean, compared to what we've seen so far, that feels incredibly fast. And there's a new fastest lap, and it's this man who's just crossed the line. DJ immediately overtaken by Barney. All right, it's going to be one of those kind of evenings. It's just one of those kind of petrol stations. We have lots and lots of change happening at the top, but we're only on the first lap. Plenty of time left to go in this qualifying session. Harrier, are we going again? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think... Is Jeff perhaps tried to set a lap and invalidated, but maybe has saved some battery to give it another go. So we'll keep half an eye on Jeff. Here is your championship leader going way off track. Not an invalidation, though, at least as far as I can tell. That is not telling me that this lap is invalidated. So much battery remaining as well, though, for Snipes. Not sure what's going on here, really. Don't think it's going to be that fast. 1:16.1, well, wildly off the track. And the championship leader still puts in a good enough lap time to land him in the top 10 so far. Let's just take a look at Jeff. Sector 2 time, 53.7 there at the end of Sector 2. Let's see. I mean, he's burning a lot of battery here. The Aston Martin driver doesn't have an awful lot left in the tank. It looked like he was half thinking about the pit lane there, but I think Jeff is going to complete this lap, so we'll get a lap time on the board. Let's see how it matches up to the rest of the field. It's pretty fast. It was well worth going again. Look at that from Jeff. Golden Egg Fryer gets himself onto the front row of the grid for now with a 1:15.3. So the 1:15s is where you want to be, but will we see some 1:14s before the end of today's session? I mean, possibly. That's an incredibly fast lap time from Barney, judging by the rest of the field. But you'd imagine people are going to improve. They're getting to grips with the twists and turns of the Hungaroring circuit. Great. I honestly think it's a great circuit. Very, very technical. Requires lots of input and focus from the drivers. Like I say, maybe not the best racing, but I honestly feel like on the game, as opposed to real life, sometimes these like heavier or tracks that have a heavier emphasis on downforce, let's say, and less opportunities with the DRS can maybe make things even more interesting. So we'll wait and see as DJ is going to come into the pits just because the lap time wasn't quite matching up to where he needed it to be, unfortunately. Agbalajobs and Igor are on outlaps. Trude Ster is bringing it into the pits. And here the Aston Martin's having a go. Whizburn is. Whizburn on YouTube, no less. Sets his first lap time of the night, and it is a 1:16.694. Not the fastest, but it's a lap on the board for Whizburn. How's Easy Game getting on then? What's going on here? We should probably ride on board with the VCARB driver for a little minute. Jumpy Painter, it is lovely to see you starting from last. It's all part of the strat. That's fighting talk. Jumpy Painter. Good to have you with us, though. I'm looking forward to you starting from the back. Is it a qualifying ban or something? Is that what's happened? 54.1. I think that's slower than Jeff, who we were watching previously, but not like loads slower. So this could be a good lap here from Easy. Let's see how this one goes. Don't care where I finish. I just want to not be murdered again. I'm with you. I spend most of my days on Earth not wanting to be murdered. What about that from Easy? Not bad. Currently alongside his VCARB teammate in the standings, a 1:15.9, just about into the hallowed ground of the 1:15s, at least so far. 7th place for the VCARB. Right then, there's a Kick Sauber I can see. It's on an outlap though, so forget about it. What about a McLaren? Agbalajobs is so slow there. I don't know what's happened. Igor. This seems like it's a lap, but he's incredibly close to that McLaren in front, and the dirty air here can have a really significant impact on the performance of the car as we see a teleporting McLaren making its way into the pit lane. Very exciting to see. Igor does improve, but only jumps up to P9 with a 1:16.0 for the Williams. When I start last, I always finish good. When I get a good quali, I crash or get no points. Okay. So it's a superstitious move from Jumpy Painter tonight. We're all here for it. I'll hang my dream catcher up in a moment before the start of the race. Skull Killer currently has a best lap time this session of a 1:17.6. We'll definitely be looking to improve on that here, and improve Skull Killer does. With the lap time, at least. A 1:16.9 is unfortunately only good enough for P16 in this incredibly talented bunch. But hey, Skull Killer is above Jumpy Painter in the standings right now. So that, you know, is at least a real thing. I think is Perez actually now. Man, the laps go by so fast. So fast around the Hungaroring. Perez does improve. Pretty significant improvement. A 1:16.2 for the Kick-Sauber man. We'll move him up to, I think, P12 there. Barney just about starting a lap there. Test wheel. Now, Zentar said a 5 on test wheel to win the race. Oof. I think, well, it's an improvement of around about 3/10, but it didn't jump him massively up the scoreboard for qualifying there, to be honest. But test wheel occupying P5 now. I think that was LTK Barrier, who has just set a pretty fast lap time, 1:15.2, and that was good enough to get him on the front row for a moment, until Shelby had something to say about it with another 1:15.2. Okay, fast lap times are coming in. Time for Kelston to try and concentrate what's happening. DJ is improving here, about 3/10 worth of an improvement for the Ferrari at the moment. I'm 7th in the actual standings, says Jumpy Painter. If I'm right, only got points in like 5 races. Okay, look at that from DJ. Wow! 3 whole thousandths of a second off pole position. The Ferrari driver on the front row of the grid, and some would say unfortunate to not take provisional pole there. But Jeff will do it instead, a 1:15.049. Barney has had some kind of disaster here. I'm not sure. He's about 3 seconds over his lap time. So Jeff, top of the standings for now then, right? What else is happening in the meantime? Shelby is pretty heavily down on the lap time there. Test wheel's going pretty slow, so we're not going to worry about that. The man himself is not improving. That's Rouge step. No, that's slow. Snipes is slow. Okay, have I just missed everybody's laps? That corner, you have to take it a little bit dangerous to really have a go. How's that Mercedes? Well, that's actually Rouge Stereo, isn't it? So forget about that. Ferrari School Killer? No, it's just DJ bringing it into the pits. Aston Martin. Wow, look at Wisburn. Okay, this is worth watching. Wisburn coming around the final few corners now in Sector 3 and was around about 7.5 up, I think. So could be seeing up to a second worth of improvement here as the Aston Martin crosses the line, burning every last drop of the battery. And it is a significant improvement for Wisburn. A 1:15.7 is good enough to make the top 8. 8th place for the Aston Martin driver. Significantly improved lap time there. This qualifying session, it's fair to say, has not gone incredibly well for Snipes so far, but I think that we might ride on board with the Haas driver here because, judging by the battery situation, I think Snipes, you know, has attempted to save some and go again. Championship leader currently down in 13th place. This lap is an improvement so far, but it's not massive. No, he didn't slam you, he didn't bump you, he didn't nudge you, he rubbed you. Rubbing Sun is racing. I'll be honest with you, B-Rad. Sounds like, you know, some kind of American film I'm not aware of. It's lovely to have you with us, B-Rad. And thank you for joining in for the Hungarian Grand Prix, but I got no idea what you're talking about. Right then, about 3/10 worth of an improvement for Snipes in the Haas. As I say, championship leader looking for a much better qualifying than he's had so far. Is he even going to abandon this lap at the last moment? He is not. So the timing chart is probably still just about okay here for Snipes. Going to burn every last bit of the battery as he brings the car over the line. Well, it's an improvement of 2/10, and it only gets him up to 11th place on the grid. I think the alerts are off, Croc, so good to see you. So Snipes now is going to have to race back around to the pit lane. I mean, well, if a lap's only about a minute and a bit, I'd honestly just get on hot lap, get burning the battery to get back around and then try and go again. That has to be the goal. Everybody is, of course, on outlaps, although not Igor, actually, for some reason. So Igor perhaps went a little bit earlier than everybody else. We might actually see a lap time from the Williams here. What position are you in at the moment? I'm common. I don't race in this tier. I race actually. Ooh, that's an invalidation. We just seen an invalidation for the Williams, so that lap time will not count. Might have just about enough left in the tank to recharge the battery and try to go again. Yeah, I race 3 tiers below this, so I don't count. I'm not here basically. Days of Thunder, basically Tom Cruise doing Top Gun but NASCAR. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Sounds fucking awful though, doesn't it? Sounds terrible. Skull Killers on an outlap? Okay, apparently Arbon. I mean, apparently, I gotta tell you something. Apparently Arbon's on a quick lap here, but I would say that's not true. So this is top tier, this is tier 2. The top tier is tier 1. This is the best tier. Let's have a look how Igor's doing at the end of Sector 1 then. Is this going to be a good improvement? Well, I mean, not loads of time gained in Sector 1, but time gained is time gained nonetheless. We're going to have to switch over to Barney in a moment, who is carrying the hopes and dreams of Haas on his shoulders tonight, despite his teammate currently running away with the championship. So we'll have to see if Barney can knock Jeff off the top spot. I don't think Igor's going to quite do it here. Yellow flags in front, but that's probably just somebody slowing down to make sure people can set their laps. Last few corners then, as Igor's going to approach the line. He's going to be looking for an improvement. 12th is not really where anybody wants to be, but it, you know, perhaps it's better than Jumpy Painter. That's what we can say about it. 9th for Igor. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Fair enough. Barney. Ooh, it's been a terrible lap for Barney. Something's gone very, very wrong. Right, I need to try and see who's actually approaching. Okay, Soul Demon. Forget about that. Snipes. This is an outlap. Barney is going to go again then. Who's the McLaren? Who's the McLaren? Is it Shelby? It is Shelby. Okay, slight improvement for Shelby approaching the final couple of corners. That big long right-hander coming up. Plenty of opportunity to lose grip here. Test Will. It's over for Test Will. 6th or worse. 4th or worse for Shelby. That was a slight improvement on the lap time. LTK Tarrier is off the track, and DJ, in the meantime, has just set the fastest lap of the qualifying session, and Jeff Golden Egg Fryer has invalidated. So pole position as it stands for DJ, and no opportunity for Jeff to claim it back off him. Now, what about Barney then? We're going to approach the timing line at the end of Sector 2 here, so let's see how fast the Haas is currently going. He does not have a lot of battery remaining, and unfortunately is about a 10th down, and there's the invalidation. It's going to be no good for the Haas. So it looks like DJ, we might have a Ferrari on pole position. What does Soul Demon, excuse me, have to say about that? Alpine approaching the end of the lap now. We're going to have to try and see where Snipes is as well. I think Snipes is just behind Soul Demon here. You'll see him crossing the line. We'll try and get on board with that one in a moment as well. Soul Demon, though, a 115.6. It's not bad. It's respectable. Snipes, only a 115.8. And the championship leader is on the edge of the points going into the start of the race. LTK in the barrier. I don't know. I think just getting out of the way, to be honest. Just getting out of the way, the Alpine. So there you go. Qualifying is over. We're getting ready to start the race shortly. It will be DJ, the only driver to break that 115 barrier and get it into the 114s. A 114.8 for the Ferrari man is good enough for pole position tonight, as we mentioned in the chat. Jumpy Painter will be starting from the back of the grid as some sort of yin-yang superstition mumbo-jumbo strategy that he has lined up for tonight. So we'll look forward to watching that one. DJ then lines up on pole, and alongside him on the front row will be Golden Egg Fryer in the Aston Martin. Currently third in the championship. Third, right, Jeff? So strong start here from him. Barney then is in third in the Haas. Shelby in the McLaren is fourth. LTK Tarrier takes fifth place. Test Will sixth. Arbon in seventh. Easy Game in eighth. Soul Demon ninth. And Wisburn rounds out the top 10 with the championship leader Snipes doing no better than 12th place for qualifying. I think we do loads and loads of laps at Hungary because the laps don't take that long to complete. But I shall tell you in just a moment exactly how long it's going to be until the start of the race. Race will be starting in 3 minutes. 25 minutes past. That gives everybody a chance to, you know, grab a drink, shake yourself off. Let's just remind ourselves, though. In fact, I can show you the constructors standing now as well. So let's do that. So constructors, as I was mentioning, can you see all of that on the screen? I think so. Constructors is looking really, really strong currently for VCarb, who are basically 100 points in front of their nearest competitor, Haas, although Barney might have something to say about that tonight. So VCarb way out in front in the constructors. Haas then with a pretty significant gap to third place as well. But then things start to get a little bit interesting. You've got Aston Martin on 143, Red Bull are on 133, Alpine on 121, Mercedes on 109. So you can see just on this left-hand side, there's been a lot of shifts, even just after the last race weekend, between that third and sixth position. So constructors looks pretty interesting. And actually, the Drivers' Championship might well look pretty interesting by the end of tonight as well, as Test Will, I believe, is starting sixth, we said tonight. Snipes is going to be all the way back in 12th. Jeff, second on the grid. And I actually didn't bother to look at Easy, but maybe I can have a look at it right now. Easy will be 8th place for tonight. So a chance for some of those drivers chasing Snipes here, you would think, to make some gains tonight. But anything can happen during the race, which is now due to start in less than 60 seconds. I'm going to get absolutely no warning when they start to line up the cars on the grid. So I'll just try and pay attention here for a moment. Good quality, very fast time set. Yeah, I mean, seemed that way, Blitz. And interestingly, I mean, Barney's first lap time might have been as fast as Barney went. I mean, it was pretty close, right? And then ended up third on the grid. Not often that you see things like that happen, but like I say, it's so grey overhead. I don't know what the weather's like, and I haven't been keeping up with the Discord chat to know what's going to happen with that, but it looks a bit dodgy, doesn't it? It looks ever so slightly dicey. So that could have an effect. Right then, we are going down to 5 red lights. And they held for an incredibly long time, but finally away they go for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's a terrible start, actually. Wait. No, I don't know what's happened. I was going to say it's a terrible start for DJ because the timing chart was showing they'd been taken over by Shelby, but that's actually not true. Look at the gap developing already to the Ferrari. Lots and lots of cars going side by side. We'll try and keep up with everybody. Oh, and there's a Mercedes off, and it is Truj Steri who now has to join the back of the grid with his teammate. What is going on with that smoke behind the cars? What on earth is that? So unfortunately, both the Mercedes at the back now. This smoke is ridiculous. Everyone's clearly brought the some sort of visual upgrade to tonight's race. I mean, sorry about that. I don't even know what's going on. But so far, I haven't seen any other craziness really happening. As we continue on with this first lap, I don't know what is that. Shelby doesn't even have a position in the race at the moment, which is very, very interesting to note. But look at that lead for DJ already at the start of the second lap. It is 1.5 seconds, and he is out of DRS range of the cars behind. Incredible start from the Ferrari. Sets the fastest lap, of course, after lap 1. Has it gone really quiet as well? Is it just me, or has it gone really quiet? Painter gained 5 places. That's true. Oh, you know, good point. I need to, like, turn things on, don't I? It looks like most of the field has opted for medium tyres. So let's check that out, actually. How do I see it? How do I see position change? It's here somewhere. There you go. You're absolutely right, though. Jumpy Painter has gained 5 positions and is currently in 13th place, just 1 point off the points. Snipes is already starting his charge through the field. The championship leader now in 10th position. Easy game, actually, is just out in front. Test Will, Jeff had pretty good starts. Jeff will be probably a little bit disheartened, though, to be so far back from the lead Ferrari after just a couple of laps completed. There you can see possible race strategies. If anybody does... Well, look at that two-stop. If anybody does that two-stop, where they put hards on for like fucking 8 laps in the middle of the race, I will eat my Aston Martin if anybody does that two-stop strategy. Everyone's going to be on a one-stop. Mark my words. What a dive up the inside from Shelby. Forget about the timing chart. There is a real racing driver's move, and the McLaren takes 2nd position away from Jeff. Anybody else? Anybody else for anything else? Looks okay, doesn't it, so far? All just looks okay. Infinity, though, having a real problem, it looks like, keeping up with the rest of the field. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Something has happened to Jeff. Oh, no, something happened to Jeff, and I did not catch it. As is typical, Jeff down to 16th place. This is where you need the Sky Sports replay button, you know what I mean? We were just trying to look at the rest of the field. What happened? I don't see that anybody else has dropped down, so perhaps it was just a spin from Jeff that caused it. But Golden Egg Fryer, unfortunately, now down to 13th place, and I just saw a little bit of front wing go missing for Jumpy Painter, and in fact, if we look at that, it's completely ruined on the right-hand side, the front wing of that Red Bull. Jumpy Painter is going to have to bring the Red Bull into the pits. This could be a retirement in the pit lane. We'll have to wait and see. But unfortunate stuff for 2 incredibly quick drivers so far, with both Jeff and Jumpy Painter suffering from various issues in just the opening few laps. Yeah, that strat maybe hasn't worked out. Jumpy Painter has fitted the mediums, and it looks like he's going to rejoin the race, so fair play. I want you to know something, by the way. These graphics, okay, are on ultra high. Look at the back of the cap. What is happening? What is it? What's that? Why are they all doing that? Oh well. We might just have to focus on the cockpit for a minute. There's problems in front. It was right there, and I couldn't couldn't get on board with it. That's a very damaged front wing. At least I think it's a front wing for... I can't do it. I can't use his nickname. Not after an incident like that. Heartbreak for LTK Tarrier in the Alpine, who you would imagine... Yeah, wow. That is a lot of front wing missing from the Alpine. He's going to have to get some repairs done. Equally, Barney has also had to make an early pit stop. Okay, all kinds of things are happening. Perhaps I should be focusing on the front of the race a little bit more here, because Shelby has already caught up to DJ. All of that advantage that DJ had earlier has been completely nullified by the McLaren. And then things just keep happening. These cars, I don't know if they're just getting incredibly close together. I mean, it's a tight, twisty track, Hungary. But I tell you who it has worked out for. Look at that. Snipes just casually making his way through the field. Started 12th on the grid, now up to 7th. It's just no mistakes F1 needed from the Haas driver so far tonight. Starting on the hard tyres as well. Yeah, watch out. You could still end up with a Snipes podium by the end of this race, for sure. Barney has retired. Barney has retired, and I think it's a retirement in the pit lane. Absolutely heartbreaking for the Haas driver, who, if he wasn't on the front row, he was pretty close to the front row as we watch Soul Demon get past Albon in the DRS zone. And also, Easy having a look up the inside of the Red Bull around turn 1 and will get the move done. So Albon loses now 2 places essentially on that last lap. Doesn't bother to have a look up the inside of Easy going through the long left canvas. So Albon, bit of an unfortunate circumstance there, and now he's got Snipes for company down there in P7. So Barney and Tarrier are unfortunately the first casualties of the Hungarian Grand Prix so far tonight, and they might not be the last ones. We'll try and keep up with everything. DJ trying to build up that lead again over Shelby, over the car behind it. It's very, very difficult if you're not in just like a train of other cars. It can be very difficult to follow another car around here at Hungary, because the way that the track twists and turns so much, there is so much dirty air coming your way, affecting the balance of the car, affecting the grip. You're just constantly fighting, really, much harder. Like, Skullkiller will be fighting much harder here than Agbala Jobs, who's got all that clean air in front, just to try and stay with him. Look at how close Snipes is to Albon there on turn 1. Albon in a bit of a damage limitation mode, I think it's fair to say, with some of the overtakes that have happened. Jumpy Painter, like I say, fair play, is still going. Jeff, oh no, he's round again. Jeff is round again. I'm not sure what has happened to the Aston Martin, but he hasn't made a pit stop yet, and he's 6.5 seconds behind the rest of the field now. Going into this race, after the qualifying session that we had, you know, the theory was that maybe some of the chasing pack can gain some ground, on the championship leader, on Snipes. But now, Snipes is sitting pretty in 7th place. He's close to the cars in front. He looks quicker than Albon. And some of the guys who were going to challenge him have just fallen away. I don't know if it's been unfortunate errors. I don't know if they've had collisions. I haven't really. I mean, it all seems to be a bit of nothing. But maybe we'll find out a little bit more in the end of the race. Snipes having to brake very hard, almost just not to hit the Red Bull there in front. I think he's going to want to get Albon really pretty soon. Somebody went slightly off track, I think, in front there. We saw a cloud of dust and dirt being sprayed up, I think, from the V-carb of Easy Game. Jeff is bringing the Aston Martin into the pits, but he's fit the hard tyres So Jeff might just now be trying to utilize the clean air that he will find himself in to try and gain some ground, making that early pit stop. Perhaps that will serve him well. I guess it remains to be seen. But fair play to Jeff for carrying on with the race. Infinity just got a move done on Agbalajobs, who was definitely off track for a moment. So I think maybe another mistake, maybe another coming together. This time it is Agbalajobs in the McLaren who suffers. I can't keep up with all the things that are happening. Soul Demon might have a look up the inside of Test Wheel here going into turn 1, and he's very late on the brakes, just about manages to get that Alpine slowed down, but it's the switchback from Test Wheel in the V car, keeps that podium position. Great stuff, good to see. There's your, that probably helps out your 5 a bet a little bit, Zentar. Test Wheel managing to hold on to 3rd. Nice little bit of driving as we begin lap 9. There, in fact, 9 of 35. 35 laps is a fair old few laps, really. There's a couple of trains, really, and one of them is here. We're looking at it. It starts with, well, it kind of starts with Shelby, and then sometimes it starts with Test Wheel, all the way back down to Igor there in 9th in the Williams. But have a look behind Skullkiller, because Skullkiller is about 5.5 seconds away from Igor, who is in 9th place, but all the way behind him, well, there are 3 cars incredibly close together. The very interesting thing is, of course, points are paid out to 12 places in Revolution, so somebody's kind of vying for the final points spot here, although those cars behind, some of them have made pit stops. Jumpy Painter is an example of that. Is Jeff going to try and take those hard tyres to the end of the race? He might. Stranger things have happened. It's like everyone might just be settling in to a little bit of a rhythm here. Jeff, well, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And maybe that early pit stop, get into some clean air, see what you can make happen. You know, I feel like when you've had problems like Jeff has had this race, maybe it's worth throwing the dice a little bit. It has taken us nearly 10 laps to get the first 3-second time penalty tonight, which, you know, is longer perhaps than it would normally take. Unfortunately, it has gone to Truj Steri in the Mercedes, who has bagged himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits warnings. Wisburn is into the pits. Maybe he is going for the 2-stop. And Snipes, there we go. We thought that the move was going to happen eventually. Those medium tyres of Arbon now just not good enough probably to hold off the much hardier and more durable hards that Snipes has on his Haas. And championship leader somehow, after a, it's not fair to say dismal qualifying, but by Snipes' standards, a disappointing qualifying, is now right up amongst the points. 6th place, sitting pretty behind the cars in front. It's been a great start, really. And he's probably now at the point where he has a tyre advantage on the cars in front. There's another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and it's been set by, you guessed it, Golden Egg Fryer. Jeff, once again, is the fastest man on circuit currently. What about this for a move from Snipes? Not the most conventional thing in the world. Couple of wheels on the grass, it seemed like, but he does get the move done. And in fact, I think there was a lock-up maybe for Test Wheel up in front, and Soul Demon thought about the move there going into the penultimate corner. And they are about to start now, lap 12? Lap 12. And we see Test Wheel try and swing it around the outside of Shelby and does incredibly get that move done. Great driving from Testwill, who moves up a place into second, but Shelby is not going to give that one up so easily. All this, of course, is great news for the drivers chasing behind. Arbon, I think, may have lost another position somewhere here to easy game, as all that's been going on. Agbala Jobs has just fit a new set, or maybe that was last lap, has fit a new set of hard tyres, so the pit stops are starting to come in. It's around about that time now, probably, when drivers will start to think about it. I mean, Wisburn's set the mediums on like lap 11 or whatever, so no chance, right, that Wisburn's going to take those to the end of the race. You have to feel that the Aston Martin driver is going for a two-stop here. Soul Demon, perilously close. Whoa, to the McLaren of Shelby in front, and that is a very, very slippy part of the track on the inside of that long left-hander. That second to last corner there just about manages to keep it all pointing in the right direction, though. Soul Demon keeping the car on the road. Is he going to think about the move here? Looks like he might have had the speed, but maybe just a little bit too far back, and Shelby positions the car well to hold on to third, but has lost a little bit of time now to Testwill after he got that move done. Gaps are starting to emerge then, but pit stops are also happening. Skull Killer. Ooh, and we caught it. We caught it. I think it was... I mean, from my perspective, it seemed like just a little bit too late on the brakes from Skull Killer after he'd been taken around the outside by the Mercedes, but unfortunately it is Infinity who suffers, and Infinity's done a pretty good job, really, of trying to claw back some positions in this race. I don't think he got any damage from that, but just struggling to keep it all together now. Just needs to keep throwing in consistent laps, get as much life out of those hard tyres as he possibly can. Really unfortunate, I think, there for Infinity with that one. Certainly not malicious, I don't think, from Skull Killer. As we watch Soul Demon make a move for the podium and does get past Shelby, positions the car well defensively, and Shelby under a little bit of pressure there from Snipes behind, but Soul Demon gets the move done. Look at that advantage now for Testwill, though, who jumps up to a very solid P2. DJ, by the way, I mean, just running the race of his life so far. Pole position, way out in front, fantastic start, never looks like missing a beat. All DJ has to do probably is keep it between the white lines to win. Speaking of keeping it between the white lines, we have another 3-second time penalty, and this time, unfortunately, it has gone to Golden Egg Fryer, whose evening probably just goes from bad to worse, to be honest. Not good for the Aston Martin, and he's got Agbala Jobs for company at the moment as well. Well, that wasn't on the track. Arbon? I don't know. We'll see what the stewards think about that one. Look at the cars going side by side in front. It is Snipes, I think, who was looking to get the move done on Shelby, but Shelby just about managing to hold position and then does bring the McLaren into the pits. So just making life a little bit complicated for Snipes before he gets rid of those relatively worn now medium tyres. Although people have taken... I mean, some people were pitting after lap 8. Perhaps that was just damage induced or what, I don't know, but some of these guys definitely trying to go way longer than that. Arbon with a nice little overtake, it seems, around the outside of turn 1, moves up to 5th place. Easy game, having to slot in behind. Yeah, Snipes absolutely relentlessly climbing, and the truth is, Zentar, this is going to continue. At least, I mean, Snipes is going to be leading the Grand Prix in a moment because all the drivers in front have the medium tyres and they're going to need to get them off. But even if they don't need to get them off at this point, these hard tyres are probably so much quicker than the mediums that will be, you know, feeling the wear much more than Snipes is. I mean, he's got more battery than the guys around him. You know, he's just managing everything perfectly at the moment. And honestly, is still in with a shout of winning the Grand Prix. But I suppose that's what champions do, perhaps. Agbala Jobs gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and there you go. Snipes is now leading the Grand Prix because Soul Demon, DJ, and Test Will are all in the pits. We see DJ exiting the pits there. So the Ferrari is going to be the first one out. Pretty close behind is Test Will, though. After that pit stop, I mean, look at how close that is. See what it's like when they get up to speed, but I think DJ has unfortunately come out in a little bit of traffic, but maybe fortunately for him, the first car of the traffic is his teammate Skullkiller, who absolutely does not make it difficult for the de facto race leader to move his Ferrari past. So Skullkiller now can have a pretty big impact actually on this race, because it's really, really difficult to overtake around the Hungaroring. We know that. And he's got 15-lap-old medium tyres with Test Will, Soul Demon, Igor, Easy, all behind him. Look at how close these guys are behind it. And Test Will and Soul Demon managed to make it past Skullkiller. Yeah, just about. Soul Demon manages to get the move done, but definitely managed to slow some of the guys down a little bit there. Skullkiller, as we see Igor now going side by side with the Ferrari, and there's a little bit of contact, and Skullkiller rides the outside curb, gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, but not sure if there was too much he could have done about the time penalty situation. Skullkiller does now decide to get rid of those mediums. Test Will gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That is definitely going to come into play. Now it's going to be really interesting to see where Snipes finishes up. As I say, DJ wasn't held up too much, really, because it was only his teammate that he came out behind. But Test Will, Soul Demon, Igor, they definitely lost a little bit of time after their pit stops. And Test Will, unfortunately, now also has 3 seconds to make up. I'm not sure he was 3 seconds in front of Snipes before. He does, of course, now have fresh tyres, and that might count for something, but honestly, track position and not really like race position standings, but just track position is so crucial at Hungary, because you don't want to be behind another car. At least not another fast car. Uh-oh, Huge Steri has gone for a spin. Wow, so many spins and craziness happening tonight. Really unfortunate for the Mercedes. He's going to drop down through the standings. Does have, I believe that's a 3-second time penalty, but I will just, whoops, doing the wrong thing again. Yeah, 3-second time penalty. And down to 10th place. And, well, he's keeping the hard tyres on for a bit longer. I think that makes complete sense. DJ, by the way, has just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So shove that in your golden egg fryer. DJ is also, wow, incredibly, okay, what's happened here? Did Shelby do the undercut on DJ? That must be what's happened. I've completely missed that. But Shelby does have new hards on, and he's in front of DJ. I think they're both probably going to be in front of Snipes when the Haas driver eventually makes his pit stop, although it also depends how much battling they get done. I don't think Shelby's just got an overtake done. No, because Test Will was behind, so I must have just completely missed. Basically, Shelby has pitted a lap earlier than DJ and has come out ahead of the Ferrari. So essentially now Shelby is leading this Grand Prix because Wisburn needs to pit, Snipes needs to pit. I mean, Wisburn doesn't need to pit, but there's no way he's going to take those mediums to the end. I feel like we can already guarantee that. A nice little action shot of the lockup there from the McLaren in front, and DJ doing absolutely everything to keep the Ferrari pointing in the right direction. All that dirty air and tricky aerodynamic conditions produced by the cars in front. The rear wing is open for the Ferrari. He's giving it absolutely everything on the battery. Thought about having a look up the inside, and that's a pretty big lockup from Shelby, whose car almost goes for a slide. We might have to stay on board with this battle for a moment, although easy game has just got the move done on Eagle around turn 1. There we go. We should have just kept up with this pal. Never mind Kelston about the rest of the standings switching over. Shelby just about edges it out, manages to take the inside line through that corner, and DJ backs out for the fast left-hander. Is he going to have another look again going into this slow chicane? It's not the easiest overtaking spot in the world now. He's way too far back. We do see overtakes happen here sometimes. See the Ferrari getting very, very close behind there. We'll watch from DJ's perspective for a moment. Oof, that's dangerous. That's dangerous when you challenge him for the win. It's so tricky. It's so tricky. Grip is all over the place when you're that close to the car in front around Hungary. There's really nothing DJ can do. He needs to try and get this move done. Right then, Shelby will not have DRS here. How much battery are we looking at for the McLaren? Why did Wisburn pit just then? Burning everything, Shelby. Burning absolutely everything to try and just stay in front. DJ really nice on the brakes there, but just can't quite find enough grip and momentum around the outside to get the move done. But he's going to have a look around the outside of the long left-hander. Very, very close, but they managed to keep the cars out of each other's way. And now it's Shelby who has the compromise line going into the right-hander, but does just about, manage to find the traction. And now we're back to the tricky part of the track again, and DJ once again finds himself behind. Opted for a slightly different strategy. Oh, there's an interesting little notification at the top of the screen. A 3-second time penalty for Snipes. Currently out in the lead, on track at least, but not really leading the race. Although if these two keep battling, maybe, but, well, there's no way. I mean, Shelby's already about 3 seconds away from Snipes here, so look at that. Shelby's now basically leading because of that time penalty. We need to keep an eye on this one, though, because, whoa, this is essentially for the win, and I think DJ might have just clipped Shelby and the McLaren in front. Now he gets overtaken by Test Will and by Soul Demon. DJ, who started the race tonight on pole position, just looked so comfortable in, say, the opening 12 or so laps, way out in front, not bothered by anybody. Now finds himself struggling down in 5th position. Obviously, Test Will has that time penalty to consider, but heartbreak there for DJ. I think he just slightly clipped the McLaren, and that just lost him all the grip. The car went for a spin. To be honest, he did really well to avoid that being much worse. So hopefully DJ can recover from this. We can see that these cars are pretty close together. Cracking race, Gromit. It is a great race. I mean, that's what I mean about this track, right? It's not great IRL, this track, sometimes, because because it's just so hard to get overtakes done and stuff. But on the game, it can take on a slightly different complexion, and I think it's because DRS, I think, is a different thing in the game to how it is IRL. Especially when everyone's got equal performance cars and stuff. This is where things really start to get interesting. There was a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix there, and I missed who it was. It might have been Shelby, though, looking at it. Snipes gets overtaken by Shelby there at the end of that lap, and then brings his Haas into the pits. So very likely to be the one and only pit stop that Snipes makes, but he's going to tumble down the order now as everybody goes flying past him in the pit lane. How far back is Arbon? Still about 8 seconds or so, I think, away from Eagle. Fastest lap was Painter. Oh, was it really? Oh, yeah, because he has those soft tyres fitted as well. Look at that. I'm not sure what kind of strategy Jumpy Painter is opting for tonight, but it's exciting nonetheless. Now then, Test Will is going to be maybe the man that challenges Shelby at the front in a moment, but does have that 3-second time penalty to his name. But we know what can happen with time penalties. Sometimes they can be removed, they can be given unjustly and unfairly. It's definitely definitely not realistic for me to be keeping track of that. The stewards can sort it all out come the end of the race. But Test Will still has every right to fight for position on track here. He did well there to stop the V car from going wide, to be honest, because it looked like he'd gone a bit deep into that corner, but just about manages to keep it on the tarmac. Not going to have DRS then. Not going to have DRS here. Test wheel. Now, DJ's battery is looking a bit low, but it's really comparable, to be honest, to some of the drivers around him. Soul Demon, of course, gaining a little bit of ground with the advantage of that rear wing being open. Lap 23 of 35. This one, I mean, we started the race tonight, you know, 35 laps. You're thinking, wow, what an incredible amount of laps for Revolution League racing. But actually, when the laps are this short around Hungary, they start to fly by. And there you go. Test wheel is now within a second of Shelby, but you might see that change by the end of the lap, because this is really where it's so tricky to keep up with the car in front. It's all just who's going to master the grip more effectively as they make their way through sectors 2 and 3. Be interesting though if Test wheel finds himself in DRS range come the end of this lap. I mean, easy game still there as well, and in with a shell. Maybe your fiver might not go to waste, Zentar, but the problem for Test wheel is that he is essentially running P5 at the moment. He's P2 on track, but with that time penalty, and if it stands, it's going to be P5 or worse for Test wheel. Just depends. Anything can happen though, right? We've seen all sorts of spins. Look at that. Trudge there, he's out. Jumpy Painter is now retired. I think I think Jumpy Painter perhaps just set the fastest lap of the race with the soft tyres to prevent anybody else getting the fastest lap, and then has decided that's enough for me, thank you very much, and retires the car. We're down to 14 runners. Points are paid out. I will say it once again. Points are paid out to 12 places, so we could end up with everybody getting points here. This might be a retirement from Jeff. No, he's just gonna fit the hards. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Oof. What a time to jump on board with Shelby. That was right in the grass a little bit, but yeah, this is very close at the front now. There are 5 drivers all pretty capable of winning this race. They are, of course, Shelby in the McLaren, Test Wheel and Easy Game in the V-Carbs, Soul Demon in the Alpine, and our pole sitter tonight, DJ, in the Ferrari, who, to be honest, might just be amazed that he's still in this incredibly tense battle for the race win after what happened just a few laps ago. Perez finds himself on the receiving end of a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits warnings. One of the things I'm going to have to start thinking about, Zentar, you know, I don't think I've ever discussed this in the live stream as we watch cars jostling for position in front. I have to think about who's going to be driver of the day. And earlier on, I was thinking about DJ just because it was so consistent and comfortable. And now I think that's less easy. I think that's less easy to argue for now. But I mean, Shelby's done pretty well. I don't remember exactly where Shelby qualified. If I look at position change, is that since the start of the race? I think it is. So really, all these guys in front have done incredibly well. I mean, Barney's dropped out, and that, you know, that has been a boost for everybody. Eagle's done great so far, but you know, the time penalties and stuff are going to come into play. Nobody yet out of DRS range then, but all the way through the rest. I mean, the rest of the field looks pretty set. If you only have to look at the minimap. If you look at the minimap in the bottom right of the screen, you can see that there are 5 cars, all within DRS range, very close together at the front, at the lead of the race. And then everybody else just has got a bit of a gap around them, to be honest. If these guys start battling, you could see people like Igor being dragged into this fight, though. Definitely don't discount that just yet. I think that was Test Will getting pretty close to the current Grand Prix leader, actually. So, might be a bit of a move here. Battery is pretty comparable. Everybody holding it together behind. Yeah, Test Will does seem to be slightly faster than Shelby here. There's a lot of smoke coming out of that McLaren there, going into the chicane. I can't look at that camera angle. The stupid smoke behind the cars is outrageous. School Killer, unfortunately, gets a 3-second time penalty. And might... Well, what does that do? Alright, okay, yeah. School Killer might be struggling to find his way out of last place now, but we'll see. Agbala Jobs, by the way, is currently running with 15-lap-old hard tyres. Might be interesting to see what the McLaren does with those before the end of the race. Right, is Test Will going to shoot it up the inside of turn 1 here? Ooh, maybe had a slight think about it, but you know who is thinking about the inside of turn 1? I think it was DJ looking if there was any gap around the Alpine. DJ, by the way, has a 3-second time penalty. That must have been a recent thing that happened. Oh, and it goes from bad to worse. It goes from bad to worse for the Ferrari driver, and doesn't manage to get the move done on Soul Demon. So really now you're looking at 1st, 3rd and 5th as the potential race winners. It's Shelby, Soul Demon and Easy maybe. Ooh. Duking it out for that top spot. I mean, look at that. DJ having a big slide at the back of the Ferrari. Easy dipping a tyre into the inside, a very slippery inside of some of these corners. Still all up for grabs here. We're still, what, just less than 10 laps to go, really. Both of these two have a lot of battery remaining. Shelby has done a pretty good job, I think, of saving some battery in order to defend on the start-finish straight. Here we go. That Ferrari looks, well, it looks closer to the Alpine in the previous shot than it does there, to be honest. But now then, with the rear wing open, with the battery on full blast, just very good defensive driving there from Shelby, positioning the car exactly where Test Will can't do anything about it. It's another 3-second time penalty for School Killer. Man, just a pretty rough day for the Ferrari guys, unfortunately, after, you know, pretty good qualifying, all things considered. What happened when I was gone? I mean, all kinds of things have happened, Blitz. I don't know. When did you go? Jumpy Painter set the fastest lap of the race, which I don't think. How do I check? How do I check who's got fastest lap? I don't know. In fact, oh, I know. It's something like this, isn't it? Yeah, it was set by Jumpy Painter with the soft tyres, who then promptly retired. So I'm not sure that fastest lap is going to be up for grabs now anymore. And basically, we have 5 cars at the front. I was mentioning to the guys earlier, just look at the minimap, really. You've got 5 guys in front, pretty close together and duking it out for the win. Obviously, there's time penalties going on in amongst all that. 3 seconds for Test Will, and unfortunately 3 seconds for the pole sitter DJ, who went for a spin and has managed to stay in this leading pack. But then everyone's kind of spread out, right? Igor has, well, I don't know if he's really gained ground on the cars in front. It looks like it sometimes from the perspective of the minimap, but doesn't really seem to be playing out on track. So really, you're probably looking at Shelby, Soul Demon or Easy for the win. Shelby obviously in a very commanding position with a Test Will between him and Soul Demon. And then DJ also in 4th place and holding off Easy Game for the time being. Do you get something for fastest lap? I believe Blitz might have to correct me on this. So I think if you finish in the points, it might be top 10, but I feel like it's just the points. If you finish in the points and you get a fastest lap, then you get an extra point. So Painter won't be eligible to gain anything from his fastest lap. Ooh, Soul Demon taking all kinds of risks. Jumpy Painter won't be eligible to gain anything from his fastest lap, but there is still kind of a gain in it because you're preventing anybody else getting that fastest lap point, right? So it's not like the fastest lap out of the points finishers gets a point for fastest lap. It's just the fastest lap gets an extra point if they manage to finish high enough. And look at that, Test Will struggling to keep the V-carb pointing straight, and that has added an entirely new complexion to the end of this Grand Prix with just 5 or so laps to go. Soul Demon is now in second place. I mean, he was in second place anyway because of time penalties, but he's now in second place on track and will have the opportunity to challenge Shelby for the race win. Battery, Shelby's doing a really good job of just not getting on the battery until he gets to that start-finish straight, which is exactly the way to play things in Hungary. But Soul Demon has the opportunity to do something incredible now. Oh, top 10. There you go, Zemtar. So it's not about finishing in the points. If you finish in the top 10 and you get the fastest lap, then you will receive a point. If you get the fastest lap and you finish outside the top 10, you will not receive a point, and neither will anybody else. Hopefully, that makes sense. There's probably an easier way to say all of that, but, you know, I haven't practiced it. Sue me. Right then, Soul Demon, what have you got? Not a lot of battery in the tank, to be honest. Yeah, not going to be getting the move done there, but still a few laps to go. Test Will still very close to the Alpine in front. DJ holding his ground against the Easy Game behind. I mean, Arbon, I believe, has been overtaken by Wisburn there in the previous few laps. Wisburn with some pretty fresh tyres, all things considered. Look at that, Agbala Jobs has only just made, what is that? How many stops is that? 2 stops. 2 stops for Agbala Jobs, 2 stops for Jeff, 2 stops for Wisburn, and 7th place. I mean, that's worth something, isn't it? Ooh, there's another 3-second time penalty for Jeff, who probably now will find himself outside the points, whatever happens from the end of this race. Just some really... It feels rough tonight. Feels rough. Feels like there's been some heartbreaking moments for some of these drivers. I still have the fastest lap while being washed as hell. Congratulations, Jumpy Painter. You can have the honorary Helston Trophy for fastest lap worth absolutely fucking nothing. Congratulations. Right then, Soul Demon around the outside of the race leader. Look at that, Soul Demon trying to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Ooh, just can't find the grip on the outside there. Puts a wheel on the grass. Oof. Shelby, for now, still leads the race, but this is going to be tense over the final few laps. I know there's other things to look at down the field. You know, Arbon and Wisburn are probably still going to be fighting, but this is really where we need to keep our attention focused. So the race is not over yet by any means. And now you can see, just a few laps ago, when Shelby was in this position of the circuit, he was at like 70, even 80% battery. We've had another retirement, by the way. I think it's Skullkiller, unfortunately, who is now retired. Yeah, Shelby had a lot more battery just a few laps ago, so he's having to fight really, really hard now to keep these cars behind. You can see how close they all are. Maybe Easy just drifting away a little bit at the back there. So I think Soul Demon's going to make another run at Shelby here on start of lap 33 in a moment. Agbala Jobs just got past this lap, by the way, and almost a spin for Shelby. I mean, Soul Demon very ambitious, and then, oh my goodness, Test Will almost goes for a spin. It's all happening in the final few laps. It's all happening in the final few laps, and DJ just about manages to keep the Ferrari planted, but now, and ends up with another 3-second time penalty, and now Easy will be desperate to get his V-carb past that Ferrari. Nightmares for DJ. I think he might drop down as far as, what, 9th even now after all of that, which would be just terrible for the pole sitter tonight. Wow. Okay, just a few laps to go. It's going to be a close finish. It's going to be an incredibly tense finish. Now that is more like the battery percentage that we're used to seeing from Shelby. Perhaps he's just done a better job of keeping it all together. Almost got spun though by Soul Demon, of course, on the previous lap. We'll see how close the two cars get going into turn 1 this time. When they start this next lap, there will be 2 laps left of the Hungaroring to go. Snipes 9th keeps the championship interesting if it stays like this. That's true. That is true. I mean, to keep the championship interesting, you want Test World to do pretty well, don't you? Some of these cars are getting so close together, and it's getting slightly concerning because we've seen contact. We've seen how easy it is under the high G, high strain of the Hungaroring circuit for people to just go for a bit of a spin and a bit of a fly. All right, Shelby again, not massive on the battery this time comparatively, but doing a really good job of keeping an advantage in terms of battery over Soul Demon, which is making overtaking really difficult. There's obviously not many opportunities to overtake really on this track when you're up close behind a competent driver like Shelby, but Soul Demon is going to have another go here going into the final lap of the Grand Prix, rounding the final couple of corners. Then that was scary for a moment. There you go, you see the back end flip out a little bit of the Alpine, but Soul Demon manages to keep it together. Now, how close are these cars behind? Well, they're still incredibly close, and Soul Demon, benefit of slipstream, rear wing open, burning all the battery. Shelby tries to push him to the inside. Soul Demon will take the inside, hard on the brakes, and then, oh no, I think there was little bits of ghosting going on, but Shelby and Soul Demon side by side now through this long left-hander, and that is so close to being catastrophic. Shelby goes off the track, and Test Will crashing into Soul Demon as they go around the round. Look at this now, almost three abreast through the fastest corner of the circuit. You could not believe it. It's raining. Is it raining? I don't think it is raining. I think it's just all started to get a bit crazy. Soul Demon has come out the better of anybody after that little scuffle. Shelby, in fact, down to 4th place on track, still currently P2 because of how the time penalties are shaping up. What a crazy finish to this race, but now look at that advantage for Soul Demon. It looks like the Alpine driver, with an audacious move on the final lap of the Grand Prix, is going to take home the win. That won't be Soul's win after Stewards, do you think, though? I mean, I think there was a point where Shelby was kind of hooked into his rear wheel, to be honest. I don't know. If I was the stewards, I wouldn't say that Soul did too much wrong, but we'll see it again. We'll see the replays. Soul Demon does win the Hungarian Grand Prix, a very eventful Hungarian Grand Prix, it is fair to say. Shelby will be standing alongside him on the podium, at least, in P2. And Easy Game ran a great race, to be honest. Ends up on the podium, P3, because of the time penalties for the guys in front. What about this man, though? Whizburn on YouTube went for the 2-stop and finds himself P4 come the end of the race, ahead of Testwell, thanks to time penalties. Snipes, as we mentioned, drops all the way down to 9th position. So a bad day for the championship leader, but perhaps a pretty good day for some of the guys chasing him. Yeah, it was quite the race. If the win stays, it is his 2nd in a row. Oh, really? I missed last week, so that is interesting. I mean, Soul Demon might be my driver of the day after that. Good to see you. Not sure how you doing. Mercedes did not win. You will see Soul Demon atop the podium here for Alpine, in fact. Wizbit driver of the day. I mean, mate, it feels right, doesn't it, Zentar? The 2-stop, finishing 4th. We'll have to see where did he start on the old grid there. Well, there's your race winner, and apparently for the 2nd time in a row, 2 race wins in a row for Soul Demon in the Alpine. Maybe it's a late season charge for Soul. Great to see though. Shelby, of course, alongside there in P2. And then Easy Game is the benefactor of the time penalties given out to cars in front, takes 3rd position. Heartbreak for DJ, of course, who qualified with the fastest lap, led them out lap 1, stormed into an early lead, really, over the first 10 or 12 laps, and then just time penalties. There was a bit of a spin where I think he clipped the rear of the V-carb, and it just all went a little bit wrong. But I think still in the top 5 for DJ, so a solid result in the end. And of course, Whizburn, 4th place on a 2-stop. That was pretty exciting. I should be back, everybody, next week. Let me tell you exactly where we're going to be next week for round 13 of 15. There are only 3 races now left to go in the season. And next week, we'll be back with the Japanese Grand Prix. So that's another fantastic track, isn't it? Suzuka. So we're going to Suzuka next week on Wednesday night. And then after that, here's a really interesting thing for you to look forward to. On the, what's that going to be? The 8th of October, I think. It's the mystery round for round 14. So the penultimate round of the championship is a mystery round. We don't know what the track's going to be. And incredibly, it is also a sprint weekend. So it'll be a random track and there will be a sprint race alongside it. So you don't want to miss that. Japan, excuse me, coming up next week. Then the mystery round, and we will round out the season at the Netherlands at Zandvoort. So 3 races to go. Snipes still has the lead of the championship, but maybe a little bit of a wobble tonight. Couple of wins in a row for Soul Demon. They'll have the Alpine driver feeling incredibly good about that one. Wisburn did great tonight. Heartbreaking for DJ, but a solid performance from Easy. It's getting interesting. It's getting exciting. Everybody, I love you all a lot. Please, over the coming days, if I don't see you, be unspeakably and unreasonably kind to each other. Maybe I'll see you next week for round 13 at Suzuka. Good night.